أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه كما يحب ربنا ويرضى، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. All praise are due to Allah, the Creator, the Cherisher, and the Sustainer of the universe. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon all His prophets, and in particular the seal of prophethood, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So my dear brothers and sisters, I greet you all with the greeting of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. And welcome to another session from the IIC that we have on every Friday morning at 9:30. So in this session, we are going to discuss about the 5D thinking model. Basically, this is actually coming from a workshop that we attended. A number of members from the IIC attended this workshop some 2 weeks ago. And it's actually quite interesting. So we thought it is a good idea to share it with everyone and see how we can actually make use of it and also utilize it in our, first of all, in our understanding and whatever capacity we have in this. You will see that it's actually quite a useful approach, concept that we can really utilize. So what we are going to discuss here is what is 5D thinking model, why, what is the driving reason behind it, what it is, and how does it work, or how is it applied. So that is going to be our session this morning. Let's start from the definition point of view. So what is 5D thinking? 5D thinking model is actually a transformative teaching approach that allows both teachers and educators to engage using a structured framework based on Islamic worldview, and thereby support children or learners or whomever we are engaging with to actually, we can engage with them in scientific concepts using this particular framework that I'm going to highlight. So what it proposes is actually the use of a number of thinking arenas, and that's why the name 5D comes from. So it's 5 dimensions of thinking, which I'm going to share with you the details of this, but they are divided basically in stepwise approach. So we start with analytical thinking, analogical thinking, critical thinking, meditative thinking, and then finally the moral thinking that we can come up with from going through these steps. But before we dive into the details of each of these thinking model, I think it is good to understand the background and understand what is the motive behind coming up with yet another model for teaching. And to start with, let's start with this book that was written by Harry Lewis. Now, it's already been more than a decade, actually close to 2 decades that it was written by this professor. He's a scientist and he's a mathematician, and he is a former dean of Harvard University, as you know, the Harvard University. So what he has written is actually, although the education today is very good in terms of producing people who have the scientific knowledge, but they are carrier of those knowledge. But what we are leaving behind is actually, we are leaving behind the soul. So we have an excellence, but that excellence is actually without a soul. So the modern education system nurtures excellence, but actually destroys the human soul. So basically to say that we have lost the essential purpose of our own existence in this life. So this is quite an eye-opener. And imagine, so this was almost 20 years ago that he was talking about this. The situation has only deteriorated since then, even more. And the outcome we see actually surrounding us in the world that we live in today, and the spread of the mischief and the spread of all kind of corruption that is there. We can see it more clearly today than it was there 20 years ago. Just to highlight this point a bit more, and how actually we are going away from our humanity, so to say. This is a picture here. You see clearly a dog, of course, with this beautiful girl standing, but actually it's not a real dog. This is a human being. It's only a costume that was a costume coming from the animal. And this person is a Japanese person. It's actually there. You can search for it. There are a number of videos also available on this. He wanted to become a dog. He wants to be a dog. So he spent more than 2 million yens to become a dog in that fancy costume that you see on this. So that is one effect of so we see multiple effects actually of the education that we are receiving, and we will highlight where is this coming from, what are the root causes in this. We don't really see this in our education system at all. So where is it coming from? But to highlight this even further, there was a survey, for example, in the US, among the US adults, although from the general public, 83% believe in God, that there is a higher power that created the universe. But among the scientists, those people who go to learn more, actually the number always reduces. So almost 30% of them only that believe in God. So close to 70%, they don't believe in God among the scientists and so on. And we as Muslims actually not immune from that, because there are a number of people who are going away from Islam as well. And one of the key reasons why they go away from Islam is actually, they say that 93% of them, they say there is a conflict between Islam and science. So is that really the case? We know for sure that actually Islam is teaching us that we need to look into the universe surrounding us and be well acquainted in the scientific arena and understand what is happening. So is there real conflict between Islam and science, or there is something else that is actually playing a role that is making people think that there is actually a conflict on that? So it doesn't stop there. The unfortunate thing is that we are seeing in the world, that a lot of people are losing a sense of purpose in this life. And losing that sense of purpose doesn't stop just on the belief aspects, but it actually goes beyond to people even committing suicide. And we know that today, on a yearly basis, there are more than 700,000 cases of suicides per year. Each year, there are close to 1 million people are committing suicides. Where is it coming from? It's coming because people are losing the sense of purpose in this life. They don't understand why we are here, what are we supposed to be doing, and what is the objective. So although on the face of the matter, as you can see on this tree, that although the branches and the top part of the tree might look strong and healthy, but actually underneath, the roots are actually all been destroyed by something. So what is that something? We need to understand. And we in Oman also not immune from this, as per year we hear 1 or 2 cases of suicide. Even this year, this year we only started 2025, but in 2024 also, where there were cases of suicides. And normally people, when they try to look at the causes for this, they come up with some of the list that I'm putting across here is either they have a mental disorders, or they are going through depression, there are family crises, there is social alienations, and other reasons like this, which are proposed. But is this really the case? Are these really the root causes of what is happening? Are they causes or symptoms? Are these causes or symptoms? So when we attended this workshop in in Istanbul, the clear analysis was done that actually these are only symptoms, but the real cause starts from our actually upbringing the children from the very basic levels, even from the kindergarten and so on. So there is something that we are doing that is infiltrating, that is indoctrinating the children with something that is making them lose this purpose of life, making them lose this connection with the higher power. And what is that thing? Maybe it doesn't really come clear to the individuals when we hear about it, but when you go and analyze it and study it a little, only for a short period of time, you will actually realize that this really could be the cause, the key cause that is actually resulting in this calamities that we are seeing among us and the things. So for me to highlight this, let me go back to the very early stages in the kindergartens. What are we teaching actually our children? And this is an example. So most probably, of course, we are trying to teach them words and so on and concepts. So we bring a video like this one, and I want you to focus on the wording that is used. Or it might look on the face value, it will be actually very simple words. There are no issues, but actually there is something that we are indoctrinating the kids with this kind of videos and this kind of books that we have. So let's go through this video. It's only 3 minutes, and then we'll come back again to discuss the matter further. So this is actually what we think is happening.
Hi everyone, welcome to Lilia's Bookshelf. I'm Lilia.
And I'm Lilia's mom. Today we're going to read When Spring Comes. Please like and subscribe to hear more great books like this one. Enjoy! When Spring Comes by Kevin Hanks, illustrated by Laura Dronzek. Before spring comes, the trees look like black sticks against the sky. But if you wait, spring will bring leaves and blossoms. If you wait, spring will make the leftover mounds of snow smaller and smaller and smaller until suddenly they're gone. Before spring comes, the grass is brown. But if you wait, spring will turn it green and add little flowers. If you wait, an egg will become a bird. A seed will start growing. Spring comes with sun, and it comes with rain, and more rain, and more rain. Do you like mud? Do you like puddles? I hope you like umbrellas. Before spring comes, the garden is just dirt and empty. But if you wait, spring will push green shoots through the dirt to fill up the garden. And spring will call out the pussy willows and new kittens too. Spring can come quickly or slowly. It changes its mind a lot. But when spring is finally here to stay, you will know it. There will be buds and bees and boots and bubbles. There will be worms and wings and wind and wheels. You will feel it. You will smell it. You will hear it. When spring is finally here to stay, you might think you are done waiting, but you are not. Now, you have to wait for summer.
So you see the language over there is used, although it is very simple and very attracting to the children and so on, but as if the spring itself has all the power to do whatever is doing. And that's in the unconscious mind of the child, that is what we are actually instilling. And that is the core problem. And we see that in actually it goes along in many of the scientific subjects that we teach. You will see that actually coming time and again in different grades at the school, although we might not think that it is actually having anything wrong with it, but we are saying that as if those parts and those animals and they are the ones who have the power actually to do that. So here is another example. So it talks about there are not many plants that can stay alive when the weather is very hot and dry. Those that can have clever ways, so as if the plants themselves, they have clever ways of keeping cool and saving water. Unlike animals, plants cannot move to find shade and water. If plants are lucky, their seeds fall in shady places. Some plants have adopted to grow in full sunlight. So you see, this language has actually a hidden connotation there, that we are disconnecting the children actually from the creator and from the almighty power that is looking after the universe. Here is another example. So if I jump into the bottom part, the soil sustains life on Earth. So as if the soil has a brain of its own that sustains the life on Earth. Most plants depend on soil for support, minerals, and water. Without the soil, plants would not be able to produce the food that animals and other organisms depend on it. For sure, we know that actually the soil has a critical role to play in the life of these plants, but it's not doing it by itself. It doesn't have a brain. The soil doesn't have a brain of its own actually to do that kind of thing. And then here, favorable temperatures. All organisms are adopted to live in a particular temperature. In general, our plants has favorable temperatures to support life. So as if, again, they have their own power and will actually to continue doing this. So there is a disguised materialism that is hidden in the text that we are taking our children through, even without feeling that it is. So attribute the origins of explored topics to material causes and nature and chance. That's what we are actually doing without ourselves and realizing that. So when we talk about plants, we say that when we talk about their growth, the growth is presented as a random outcome because of natural processes like pollination, germination, and photosynthesis. When explaining the process of plant growth, again, we assume that the seed has its own inherent ability to grow into a plant without acknowledging the role of a higher knowledge and power in the process. When we talk about the origin of life on Earth, it is presented solely as a result of evolutionary processes, neglecting any notion of creation. We talk about the galaxies and celestial bodies. We attribute as if the laws that we have known or discovered, the laws of the gravity and the cosmological processes, we think that they are the ones which are behind these galaxies and so on, forgetting that actually it is the all-powerful that has put the purpose in this galaxies and these bodies to follow the law that he has prescribed for them. The diversity of the species. When we see the diversity of species, we solely rely on the concept of natural selection and adaptation. So those who have managed to adapt themselves they are actually have survived. So in fact, what we are doing is we are blinding the children from the actual realities and from the connection with the Creator, without realizing that we are doing that, because we are just using those words. Actually, it is having that impact. So we are going from a world that is connected to the Creator and the sustainer. We are moving into the misconnection. So we are losing that connection, and we are misconnecting it to the nature, to the material cause, or to chance. And that is actually making the person, as a learner, he's far away from the Creator and far away from knowing his objective in life and the purpose of life. So we are depriving the soul actually to know the sustainer. So instead of us becoming connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and becoming Abdullah, we are now disconnected, and we are misconnected to the other without realizing we are actually misconnected to the Taghut that is there in the world. So we are, instead of becoming Abdullah, we are becoming Abdul Self, or Abdul Fame, or Abdul Fortune, or Abdul Wealth, or Abdul All. So we are actually losing that correct connection and connecting with something else. So there is a connection problem that we end up with, and that connection problem is the one that is actually causing that. So how can we resolve this? And this is the whole thing that the 5D is about, is how do we actually resolve this problem of connection with the Creator? So the 5D, as I mentioned earlier on, stands for actually these 5 dimensions or thinking model that is related to analytical thinking. So we always start with the first step, which is the explore step. So here we highlight and clarify that actually science is a very valuable tool for us to study the universe, understand the universe, and look into the creation of God, using the analytical thinking in our mind. And I will go into a little bit detail later on the next slides. From there, we go to the second step, which is the analogical thinking. And here we do a comparison. And this comparison is actually a very important, because it highlights the value of the topic that we are studying, or the subject that we are studying on that. And then we pose some questions and apply some critical thinking on this. I will clarify that in the coming slides as well. From there, we move into, so in all of those steps, we do not invoke any ideology yet. This is all pure science, and we try to analyze and understand what we observe in the universe. From there, we start to connect, actually, in a meditative thinking. We start to connect everything with the Creator, that it has to be a Creator that is behind it. And we try to extract some moral lessons from there. So we appreciate the blessings of God, and we take some character building from the topic that we are studying. It will become clearer as we go through. So these are the 5 steps of the 5D thinking model. Now, to start with the exploration part, in the exploration part is actually we delve into the wonders of the universe using science. So we are not saying that we need to keep the science away. Is the opposite. Actually, we want to study the science, because we know that the more we will study the science, the more we will become acquainted with the attributes of the Creator. We will understand the Creator even more. So, but however, in this step, we do not bring God into the equation yet. All what we do is we look at what we observe without also giving any falsehood. So we need to present the fascinating scientific facts and filter false ideologies from there. And actually, when you study anything, you will see that from the minute as an atom to the magnificent galaxies that we have, you will see that there are many fascinating facts about each one of them. Even an atom like hydrogen, which is the simplest atom we have, it forms out of 1 proton and 1 electron, but still there are studies and research that continuously done. And when you ask an expert on hydrogen, for example, he will tell you that we are not there yet. There is a lot of research is required. So each creation of God is actually is a fascinating thing that is actually keeping us or giving us an understanding about God. Recently, actually 2 days ago, my son was given a task from the school. He's in grade 3. And he was told that, okay, you need to make a mask of your favorite animal, and then you need to speak about that favorite animal. So he selected a tiger to be his favorite animal. So we started searching what are the most fascinating tasks about fascinating facts about the tiger that he can talk about them. And I found a list of them, but I gave him only 3, or we discussed and selected 3 from there. Imagine the tiger. I wasn't aware of it myself in this regard. So one of the amazing things about the tiger, for example, you see the pattern that it has, the strip pattern that they have on the body. Apparently, each tiger has a unique pattern of its own. No other tiger will have the same pattern exactly. So it's like the fingerprints in our hands that human beings, they have. Also the tigers, they have these strips as the fingerprints. The other fascinating fact about the tigers is that they can see clearly during the nighttime. In the dark, they can see clearly. So that was quite an amazing thing. And then when I told also my son about the tiger actually can swim, and he's a very good swimmer. It goes and hunts actually in the water. He was very amazed on this. So what we need to do at the exploration stage is that we want to ignite this curiosity in the learners, in the children, that they have to go and study and make them eager to know these facts, because we know at the end of the day they are actually leading us towards our Creator. So once we have made our observations, came up with the data and so on, just like what is done in the scientific approach. Now we go into a compare stage or step, which is the analogical thinking. So the wonders of the universe versus a man-made wonder. So we need to now make an analogy to reflect upon the wonders of the universe, side by side with the man-made wonders. Highlight that both require intention, knowledge, and power. So for example, if you have a bird, you're studying about the bird and so on. So you try to compare it to something that is man-made, even if it is a plane, for example, made out of paper. Yeah. So even a plane made out of paper, you need intention, you need knowledge, and you need power to produce it. Yeah. So then you compare the bird which is there, it requires requires an intention to be behind its creation. It requires the knowledge behind its creation, and it requires also the power. So you just make that conclusion without yet going into that there is a creator behind it. Then you start asking questions. So these questions will be rejecting the prevailing notions that attribute universes marvels to Mother Nature or material causes or blind chance. So we use this comparison again between a man-made thing to the one that God has created for us. This comparison will highlight actually this step very nicely. So you will pose this question: can nature actually make the bird by itself? Does the bird itself know how to come to this life? Can this be a cause and effect, or can it be a chance that it has happened and the bird came out of nothing by itself? And then in the fourth step, we start connecting now. First we connect actually the particular thing that we are studying with the universe itself. So for example, if you are studying an apple, yeah. Actually there was a book written by a professor from the Cambridge University. He says that how the title of the book is How to Make an Apple Pie. And he's saying that actually to make an apple pie, the whole universe needs to be working together for us to be able to make the apple pie. Why? Because apple, when we get it from the tree, is not actually the tree on its own that is giving us the apple. We get the apple through the tree, but actually the whole universe is working together. Because for you to put the seed of the apple to get that tree germinated, you know, the soil has to be there with the right conditions. The water needs to be there. The temperature needs to be correct. Even the sun plays a major role in this. And nowadays we're discovering even the moon is playing a major role in this. So there is an interdependency, interconnectivity between the different elements within the universe to actually produce an apple. And that means that actually all of them are relying on each other for us to be able to produce that. So there is an interdependency. And what that shows that there is an innate impotence, that everyone is dependent on each other, meaning to say that actually if one didn't exist, the other will not also be able to function. It's just like within the body of the human being. When one organ is actually not functioning properly, the whole body is affected. So if one is not there, the rest will not be able to work. But also what is showing us that actually the creator of the soil is also the creator of the water, is also the creator of the sun, is also the creator of the moon. So it has to be the same creator because he has put everything in harmony and together. So this step is actually, first of all, we are connecting the different parts of the subject that we are studying, and we show the interconnectivity, the interdependency, and then from there, we need to relate this particular fact actually to the divine knowledge and to divine names. So Asma Allah al-Husna. So from there we extract that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Qadir, He is Al-Khaliq, He is Al-Alim, He is Al-Hakim, and so on. So there will be links. You will see that actually there is a link between those attributes of God and whatever topic that you are studying. So from there you go to step 5, which is the step of appreciation. Now you have analyzed and understood that is actually whatever you are studying is actually a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And how would your life have been if you didn't have that blessing? If the water didn't exist, for example, how would our life be? Oh, we had to actually dig for the water all the time when we wanted the water. So we need to cherish shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We need to make it abundant to our Creator by remembering his blessings and his bounties that are intentional gifts from our Creator to ourselves. And we make fikr and reflect upon the immense value and our deep dependence on them. So from there, we can also extract some characters. So from each of the elements, we can see, I will show you an example later on, that how can we actually extract character lessons from each of this and link it to our own life and how we can build our character according to the thing that we are studying. And that will be really a very powerful way to instill within our children, within our students, those valuable characteristics that we can actually have in our personalities. Then we link it also to relevant verses from the Quran and also some hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, and we conclude that with actually making a supplication to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these are the 5 elements of the 5D learning model. I will show you now how is it applied practically. So there is a video here. You can see that the steps that I have talked about, they can be applied on anything actually. Even on non-scientific topics, they can be applied. Yeah, like history, social studies, and so on. You can apply those approaches by looking at the holistic picture of the universe rather than the simple part. So let me give you an example here again. This is the butterfly example. It's a very nice video. You can, again, I think it's 5 minutes. So we'll go through that and then we come back again.
Metamorphosis or divine forces. First step, explore. There are nearly 20,000 species of butterflies worldwide, each a special creation. These beautiful creatures go through an amazing transformation known as metamorphosis. Let's find out how they are transformed. A butterfly's life starts as a tiny egg, often laid on a leaf. When the egg hatches, a caterpillar comes out. Caterpillars eat a lot of leaves and grow very fast. Then a protective case is formed around its body called the chrysalis. Inside the chrysalis, something amazing happens. The caterpillar is reconstructed as a butterfly ready to fly. Fascinating facts. Each butterfly's wing pattern is unique, like a human fingerprint. Butterflies taste their food with their feet, detecting taste when they land on a plant. Butterflies flap their wings around 20 times per second, flying up to 50 kilometers per hour. Every year, monarch butterflies make a 3,000-mile journey from Canada to Mexico, lay their eggs, and die. Their offspring mysteriously know the way back to Canada. Second step, compare. The caterpillar is like a train, moving, slowly eating leaves. Then it makes a chrysalis, a shell where the big change happens, much like a train entering a workshop to become an airplane. The chrysalis acts as the construction zone, where the caterpillar is reshaped into a butterfly. There, the caterpillar's body breaks down, almost like taking apart the train piece by piece. Parts of the caterpillar turn into new things, like wings and antennas, similar to how airplane parts, like wings and tails, are built from the train's parts. When it's done, the butterfly comes out ready to fly. Third step, question. If you actually witness a train becoming an airplane, would you believe in your eyes? Even if you wait millions of years, would that happen? We know that building an airplane involves the precise assembly of 1,000 parts, such as engines and wings. If we do not believe a train could turn into an airplane, why do we assume a caterpillar becomes a butterfly on its own? Can its DNA account for such a transformation? Can it be the work of nature that cannot hear or see? Do caterpillars possess knowledge or consciousness to undergo this transformation? How do they know they need wings to fly? Fourth step, connect. Caterpillars and butterflies rely on plants, winds, oceans, and the sun to help them. They work together like a team. Butterflies play a role in keeping everything in balance. Think of the butterfly effect, where small changes have big consequences. It shows how everything in the world is connected. Let's not forget that caterpillars are made of living cells. This is a miracle beyond human ability. Transforming them into butterflies is another miracle. Only the one with unlimited power who creates and sustains life can do this. He must have knowledge of everything to consider the butterfly's effect on them. That is none other than Allah. La ilaha illallah. Thus, the transformation of a caterpillar into a butterfly is not merely metamorphosis. It is a miracle of divine forces. Let's hear how the Quran describes the misguidance through misconceptions.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن هي إلا أسماء سميتموها أنتم وآباؤكم ما أنزل الله بها من سلطان إن يتبعون إلا الظن وما تهوى الأنفس ولقد جاءهم من ربهم الهدى.
What do butterflies tell us about Allah? He is Al-Khaliq, the creator, who transforms a wiggly caterpillar into a butterfly. He is Al-Musawwir, the fashioner, who designs wings beautifully. He is Al-Ahad, the only one who makes each wing to be unique. He is Al-Razaq, the provider who provides food for them. Fifth step, appreciate. Dhikr. Remember that only Allah could make caterpillars and turn them into butterflies. Dhikr. Think how amazingly Allah turns caterpillars into butterflies. Shukr. Thank Allah for employing butterflies to help flowers and plants grow. Let's derive some character lessons from butterflies. Be patient. Just like a butterfly, it takes time to grow. Like a caterpillar changes into a butterfly, change can make things beautiful. Like every butterfly, Allah makes every human unique too. Let's end our journey with a prayer. Caterpillars crawl on leaves they munch. Then in their cocoons, they take lunch. Comes out a butterfly, oh, what a surprise. Like a train turning into a plane before our eyes. Thank you, Allah, for this miracle so neat. Changes like this, no one can beat. Please make our journey to Jannah sweet.
I'm sure you must have said Subhanallah, MashaAllah, while you're looking at that video. And we can say the same for each and every subject that we study. As I said, from the biggest thing to the minute atom, you will see the wonders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in everything that we see surrounding us and how they are interconnected. And they're showing us the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and showing us also that everything is dependent on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this life. So basically the 5D model is in reality is actually linked to the declaration of Shahada that we have for Islam. And you will see that actually those 5 steps, they are manifesting the components of the Shahada itself. So we say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. So the first 2 steps, the analytical thinking and the analogical thinking, is really related to the ashhadu part, where we say, I bear witness. So you are bearing witness by observing the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in this stage, we are involved in observing and logically processing the events and phenomena in the universe, emphasizing a quest for understanding and meaning. So in that part, actually, you are bearing witness, and you are making your conclusion based on what you have observed in this life using your analytical and analogical thinking. And then we go into the next part, which is illa la ashhadu la ilaha la ilaha. So this part is actually forgotten by many Muslims, even that we first have to negate all the falsehood before confirming the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that goes in the critical thinking that it is not possible for anything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be behind this creation and each part of this creation. This stage involves questioning and examining the origin of universe's phenomena, culminating in the negation of secular explanations. This echoes the part of the Shahada that rejects the existence of other deities other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So then we go into the illallah part, only Allah, or but Allah, which is basically the meditative thinking part. In this stage, we emphasize and recognize the oneness of the Creator through observing universal interconnectedness and interdependence between the different parts, reflecting the affirmation of Allah's oneness in the Shahada. And then we go into the part of Muhammadun Rasulullah in the moral thinking. So at the final stage, we involve personal growth inspired by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, aligning with the Shahada acknowledgement of the Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and what he has taught us actually to learn from our life in this stage. Now, so this is basically the 5D overview. I have hopefully simplified it in the most simplest of the way. We had a 6-day workshop, so we have gone into details of each of those elements. The course was really valuable. It was an eye-opener, and I encourage for the people who can attend it. It's run also online sometimes. I'll give you the links later on in the coming slides. For you to also, if you are able to do it. But who is behind it is actually a waqf in Istanbul Foundation for Science and Culture. Waqf, and there is a team, the 5D team, which is culminated in this pictures over here. Dr. Najati is a key figure who is actually heading this, but also all the others are actually have a detrimental, quite a substantial input into the models, because there is a lot of things that are happening in the writing of the curriculum itself, making of those kind of videos. A lot of efforts have been put in, and what we understood is that this work has been going on for the past 10 years. And lately, they have, over the past 3 years, also they worked on the actual curriculum to something to bring that structure in the school. So how they can do that? So they have worked already in number of phases. So basically, they divided the work from the kindergarten to grade 12. They divided it into 3 phases, and they have completed phase 1. So they have a complete syllabus from kindergarten to grade 6, but also in the phase 2, they have already completed, almost completed the phase 2 for the science subjects. So these curriculums are already available, and they will work on the grades 10 to 12 next to complete. And actually on each of the topic is divided again in the same way that I described, and the steps which were described early on. And we can access actually those digitally as well. If you want, you need to contact the 5D thinking team. The key person there is Uzma. If you want the email for them, or the website also has a lot of details that you can also benefit from. The 5D thinking.org, a lot of videos, explanations, and so on. It is the curriculum is already applied around the world. Almost more than 200 schools are applying it. Not for a long time, but they already started implementing actually the curriculum. So we have in Canada, in USA, we have in the UK, in Holland and South Africa. We have in Malaysia, Indonesia, and India and Pakistan. A lot of schools have started actually implementing, and I'm sure the fruits will be positive, inshallah ta'ala. So this was an overview of the 5D model. If you have any questions or clarification, I think we have some time for that.
Jazakallah khair, Doctor.
Barakallah feek, Sheikh.
السلام عليكم دكتور يوسف صبحك الله بالخير.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله يا مرحبا.
Can you please show the slide of the Shahada and elaborate a bit on the links to the 5D thinking?
Yeah, very good. So in the Shahada, we can actually divide it into 4 different parts. So the first part is I bear witness. So this part, the I bear, that you are acknowledging with all your knowledge, with all your understanding, with all your feelings. Yeah, so that is part of the Shahada. And how that understanding will come, how that knowledge will come to you, you have to apply these observations in the world that you are living in, on the universe that you are living in. So it's actually the analytical thinking and the analogical thinking that we have explained earlier on. So here we are now basing on the observations that we are making. So based on that, you are bearing witness. So you are bearing witness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one. Actually, we cannot have more than one creator for the things that we have. So if I mention the example, for example, how do we survive in this world? We need oxygen, we need water, we need food to survive. First of all, the life itself is not our own creation. It is given to us by the Creator. And then the life is sustained by something what God is giving us. So God is giving us the water. Are we, as human beings, with all this advancement in science and technology, are we able to make one drop of water out of nothing? We are not. Are we able to make one seed out of nothing that we can cultivate and it will germinate into the fruits and the vegetables that we're eating? No. So actually we are bearing witness by our observations in what is surrounding us in the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are applying our analytical thinking, our analogical thinking to bear witness that there is no God except Allah. So that part is actually in part of the Shahada. So when we are actually analyzing, we are observing, making those observations, studying the universe, doing the research that we are doing, we are actually, what we are doing is actually we are bearing witness, because we cannot analyze something except what Allah has created for us. Yeah, we have not managed to create anything out of nothing so far, and we will not be able to do that. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, أَفَمَنْ يَخْلُقُ كَمَنْ لَا يَخْلُقُ, is the one who creates is like the one who doesn't create. It can't be. Yeah, so that this is the first part in the Shahada, is that we are bearing witness that Allah is the creator of everything, and then we are looking at the fascinating facts about that particular thing. So anything we can think of, actually we can come up with a lot of fascinating facts that will amaze us about. Let's again, we're talking about the water. We know that the water forms out of 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 oxygen. But is there a human being who can bring those atoms together out of nothing? And is there any human being who can bring this water? What actually makes the water come out of hydrogen and oxygen? You see, I mean, this is an amazing thing itself, is a miraculous thing itself, because none of these atoms have the properties of water. Hydrogen doesn't have the same properties of water. Neither does the oxygen have the properties of the water. Actually, the hydrogen and oxygen are more in gaseous status, whereas the water is a liquid. Yeah. So it has bringing these atoms together and having the water formed is actually by itself is a miracle that we see in front of our eyes all the time, but we are not able to see that. So we bearing witness with our analytical thinking, our analogical thinking, that actually there is no God except Allah. So the second part here is actually the part where we are negating. So in the Shahada, we say, Ashhadu an la ilaha. So this part, la ilaha, comes out of our critical thinking. We see in front of our eyes that there is actually nobody can make anything out of nothing. None of those things can have, like when we study the cell, for example, the smallest part in our body, or what we call, we thought that it is the smallest part, al-khaliya, the cell. But now we have a discovery that within each of those cells, actually there are several parts, maybe 11 or 12 different parts so far what we have discovered, and each one of them have a function and a purpose for it. So the membrane allows certain things to enter and avoids, stops other things to enter in it. So the membrane is playing a major role. The nucleus has a role to play, and so is the mitochondria and other parts within the cell. They also play a role in this. And actually, the cell will not be fully functional if each of those parts didn't work. So you see the dependency of each of those parts on each other. And so is the case within the universe that we live in. So within the body itself and within the smallest cell, we see the interdependency. And then this cell is actually dependent on the next cell, and the next cell on the next cell, and so on. And each of those cells, they have their own role, and so on. And we know that these cells, they do not have the brain of their own to do whatever they're doing. The membrane doesn't have a brain actually of its own. The soil, as we said, it doesn't have a brain of its own to make the seed to germinate. So in this part, we are negating the nature or the cause or the chance. Yeah. So from this, and we are also because the problem with us is that we see the things are happening. We get used to it. We get used to it. We have the sun is coming all the time from the east, it's sitting in the west. So we think that it is actually the sun is doing that by itself. But in reality, it's a different case. Let's say, for example, we have the switch to switch on the light. Yeah. So the child, we see that every time we switch on the light comes on. And we think that actually the switch has the ability to make the light on, but we know that is actually not the case. The switch, we are using it to switch it on and off, but the light comes from a different source altogether. So is the case with the sun. When the sun is rising and setting, we think that sun or the gravitational laws, they are playing the role, and they are the ones who are. No, it's actually we got used to it, and that's why we think it is. but it's actually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's power and will and knowledge. That is the one that is giving us the sun all the time to come and so on. So it's actually this critical thinking in which we are negating this thing. People think that, oh, the science is so much advanced now, we don't need God to say we understand everything. Yeah, we understand how it is working. We understand the laws behind it, but do we know the power that is making it work? Yeah, so that is the part in the critical thinking that this part, each one of them, they don't really have a brain of themselves to do this. Yes, they are systematic and they're working in the way that God has made the sunnah for them to work on, the sunnah for them to work on, but they're not really working on that. So from there we move into the meditative thinking, which is we say illallah. So there has to be one absolute power, the one who is absolutely knowledgeable. He has the absolute wisdom behind the things that we are seeing in our life. So this stage emphasizes on the recognition of the oneness of the Creator, because the one who has created this part must be the same as the one who has created this part as well, because of the interdependency that is there in between them. So from there we affirm the oneness of the Creator, but we also try to derive the attributes of the Creator from this, which is the Asma Allah al-Husna. So ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, and then we say ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, because God did not leave us astray in this life. He created us for a purpose, and He highlighted that purpose to us through His revelations and through His prophets that He has sent. So that is what we are acknowledging actually, and this is the link which is there between the 5D steps and the Shahada that we are declaring on this. I hope that I have clarified this point a bit more.
Thank you very much, Yusuf.
Jazakallah.
Jazakallah khair, Dr. Yusuf, for this fruitful information. I just have 2 questions. The first question is, does this organization have like a follow-up report on the schools that are implementing the system now, the outcome of introducing such syllabus to the kids? What is the change that the kids are going through? This is the first question. And the second question is about now, if we want to implement these syllabus in the local schools here in Oman, can they provide, train the trainer, how to train the teachers to actually, do it the right way? Shukran, Sir Yusuf.
Yeah, Jazakallah khair, Sheikh Hatem. Thanks for your question. So indeed, I mean, people who attended the training, they were very much amazed, and this training has been ongoing for a couple of years at least, last year and this year more rigorously, I would say. So because the curriculum was also produced only last year, so this is one thing. There are a number of schools, almost over 200 schools now are following this, although they only started recently. And they already see some fruits, that the children are much more engaged now. They see the value of actually studying the different scientific topics and so on. So they see the value. So there is already a good indications that are coming. In terms of the results also, there is an improvement. There is not a long, of course, history on this yet, but whatever is provided, especially from the school in South Africa, there is one in Canada, in the UK. There are some positive results that are coming. So this will come as we go along, inshallah, and so it will be fruitful and positive, it seems so far, and we see it also, the value of it for us as Muslims, that actually cultivating this from the very young age is really a key to preserve our children from going into the problems that we mentioned in the start of the presentation. So that was one thing, or the first question that you asked, Sheikh Hatem. I hope that I've covered. So there is a monitoring that ongoing. However, there are 2 forms that they follow. I mean, they don't abide, or they don't, let's say, bound people that they have to go through their channel only, but they prefer, of course, to do it. So people who want to do it also, they can take the syllabus and apply it in whatever they are teaching in the same syllabus, but have this in the background or in the back of the mind, so make the children to be aware as they go along. But they also sign, for example, memorandum of understanding with a lot of schools, and we can do that as well. So if there is a school interested from our side here in Oman or any other place, they will be more than happy actually to take them through the training, and they can train the trainer as well. So their program is divided into three, you can say the preliminary, and then the advanced bit, and then they're training the trainer bit. So they have actually a program that is already aligned like that, and you can see that in their website over here. This one, they give a lot of details about how to approach them. And one of the things that we are thinking also, that if we collectively think that this is something that we need to do, we can think also to actually request them to come here to get the training, if we have enough people that wants to join the training, instead of a big number from us to go over there to attend it in Istanbul. By the way, Malaysia is doing that, and there is a training that will be happening end of this month, I think 22nd and 24th. And even if people from here, they want to go to KL to attend, they can do so. So the team from Istanbul will be flying to Malaysia to give this training over there. So we also can do the same here. And if we feel keen, even as a school, for example, they want to go there to do the training in Istanbul, that is also doable. So yes.
Dr. Yusuf, maybe it's important to clarify, it doesn't require change of syllabus. This is a framework of delivering the syllabus. Is that correct?
Yes. So this is a framework. We can apply the framework in whatever syllabus we have. That is one option. But they also have a syllabus that has been produced already, as I mentioned, from kindergarten to grade 8 already is available, and the others they are still working on for the science topics. So yeah, we have both options. If let's say if some school, they want to keep their same syllabus, but they want to apply the framework, they don't have any actually restrictions on that as well.
السلام عليكم دكتور يوسف. شكرا حقيقة على المعلومات الجميلة والمفيدة. بس سؤالي، هل يتوفر حاجة باللغة العربية مثلا خاصة ممكن نستفيد منها احنا، يعني طبعا كعلوم موجودة، ولكن هذا الإطار يعني، فهل في أو بس المتوفر حاليا هو باللغة الإنجليزية؟ شكرا.
جزاك الله خير أخي، بارك الله فيك. كأنك تفهمني فبجاوب بالإنجليزي عشان البقية اللي يمكن ما يفهموا بالعربي. So the brother is asking, is this syllabus only available in English, or there are other languages, especially Arabic? Do we have anything? So the answer is that currently actually it's only in English. There are some people are translating it to other languages. I've already sat with a Dutch lady who they already applied in their schools in Netherlands, but they are actually converting it into Dutch before giving it. But they're doing it topic by topic at the moment. We don't have it available at the moment in Arabic, but that is the idea. If we see the buy-in from brothers and sisters, and they see the value of it, definitely we will work on actually translating this into Arabic. So it will be quite useful. But at the moment, we don't have anything yet. We just came back actually a few days ago. So we'll work on the translation. That is actually one of the goals that we have. Jazakallah khair, Brother Walid, for asking the question.
طيب شكرا.
Dr. Yusuf, thinking about it in terms of applying it to our education system as a framework. Is this also linked to AI? I mean, the way AI is working, it seems like it's also using these processes on all these steps.
AI is actually I'm not sure how we can link. Of course, they in producing their things that they are using AI quite a bit, but we need to be also careful. There was an example I had from the AI, but I didn't put it on the slide, that when you ask it a question, it can give you very secular responses in terms of the creation. So, for example, it tells you that from my experience, the AI tells you that from the knowledge that we have is actually the creation is not an intentional creation. It gives you that result. But anyway, the AI, of course, can be used and utilized for this for the benefit of our as long as we are aware of what we are putting in, then we get benefit of it.
بارك الله فيك. أحسنت.
جزاك الله خير. أحسنت. Okay, so any further suggestions?
I like the idea of bringing it to Muscat or to Oman for a course.
Excellent. Yes.
This can be applied by parents as well. I mean, not necessarily just schools. Yeah.
Correct.
Indeed.
Yeah. Actually, we went there as a IIC because we felt that actually even in our discussions and so on, we can apply it as individuals, and it's very beneficial. And they also in their adverts, they say it's not only for the teachers, it's actually for parents as well. And there was a Malaysian couple who normally give parenting courses. Even in Oman, they have come a number of times to give this parenting. They were there also, and they were very intrigued by the concept and idea, and they said we want to introduce that in our parenting course that they're going. So there will be a collaboration. So indeed, Sister Ahlam, is also for the parenting. It's maybe much more important for the parents at that early stage, and to be aware also of the language that is used in the current curriculums.
Yeah, exactly. Because as well, we depend on our education system, and then when we come back home, we still continue teaching them with the same method, and you only تتطرق to God when you talk about punishment or reward, or we don't link the two together. Yeah. So I think even in our own life, as you said, we can apply.
Indeed, yes.
Assalamu alaikum, Doctor. If I can just add very quickly,
please.
Areas of where we can add. In fact, we could add this also in the IIC volunteer program, because especially when you speak to atheists, even other, the approach can be applicable as well. So it could be applied in various situations.
Any more highlights, brother? Dr. Aboud was actually also attended the training. Also, brother Sheikh Zahra, if you have any comments as well, you can chip in.
Jazakallah khair. I think for the period you've been given and for the summary, I think it's excellent. Barakallah.
Jazakallah.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh Yusuf.
Alaikum salam.
Just for our IIC, يعني في المركز تعريف بالإسلام, for example, Dr. Nagadi, he said, Zahar, tell me, what do you see? What is the most amazing things in Sultan Qaboos Grand Mosque, the visitors? I said one of them is the carpet, and the other one is the chandelier. He said, what is special about the carpet? I told him the carpet is the largest single piece in the world, and the chandelier is the heaviest and also the largest piece of chandelier in the world as well. He said, how you will apply the 5D? Honestly, I told him, you tell me. He said, they are amazed by the largest carpet they are walking in. How you compare it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provided whole earth as a carpet for them. So this is a key point for the listeners, our audience today. The other one is the chandelier. Okay, they are amazed of it, how we compare it. It is the sun and moon which are provided to us. Who is the creator of that? Who is the creator of this? That is man-made. The carpet and the chandelier are man-made, and the sun and the moon are Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created them. So just this is to add as a hint to the others. So 5D can be applied to any field, because everything in here is related to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator. The other things is, there is one professor also, he only came with one time also. He mentioned the researches that they carried out about the human being, about the human parts of the body and the brain and the soul. And this has appeared now. So he irritated me, and I raised my hand. I told him, there is a man who wrote a book in Oman. He's, riding a donkey between a village to a village 200 years ago. And that is Nasser bin Ga'ad al-Kharusi, Sheikh Nasser bin Ga'ad al-Kharusi, غفر الله له. And he mentioned what this man, the professor, is mentioning. That is our body parts are the slave of the brain, and our parts without the brain, they will not move. So the third part is the ruh. The ruh is driving the brain and driving whole the body. So subhanallah, that is the creator. Thank you, Dr. Yusuf.
Jazakallah khair. Shukran. Okay, inshallah, we'll bring this to a close. Jazakumullah khair, all of you, for having the time and coming to join this session. If there is anything also, we can be contacted, myself or Sheikh Hafiz or Sheikh Zahra, Dr. Aboud, all of us, Sister Ahlam also can be. So we can work together, inshallah, on how we can benefit from this concept, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر بارك الله فيكم.
جزاك الله خير دكتور.